Assalamu alaikum, third year. So after so many days, we are going to start again our new topics. Out of those, the remaining topics, the first is the drugs acting on respiratory system, और उसमें हम देखते हैं the commonest problems we are facing are the obstructive pulmonary diseases. As the name is indicating, these are the pulmonary diseases relating to the respiratory system in which there is a feeling, or not only feeling but practically present, obstruction in the air passage. Now it may be acute in nature or may be chronic in nature, but for the time being, first we are going to start with the chronic obstruction. So the chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases, what we call them also commonly as COPDs, the abbreviation is accepted. Now we have, for your convenience, again like previous lecture, we have divided them into three parts. The first part we are going to discuss today of this COPDs, chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases. Now bronchial asthma is one of the most common and very important disease related to chronic obstructive pulmonary diseases. So basically we are touching this disease, bronchial asthma. Now what is asthma? As written here, asthma is basically chronic inflammatory disorders of the airways. What two things? One is it's an inflammatory disorder. Inflammation is present in this disorder. And second is it's a chronic problem. कहाँ का? Of the air passages. So due to that chronic inflammatory disorder, a problem in the airways, there is a recurrent episode, not only one or twice, it's recurrent, coming again and again. What types of episodes? Of wheezing, breathlessness, chest tightness, and cough. There may be some noise or voice coming through the respiratory tract. Patient is unable to hold this respiration. Immediately is feeling dyspneic, and there is a sense of tightness present in the chest, difficult to inhale or exhale, and obviously cough is also present. So recurrent episodes of all these things are seen due to chronic inflammatory problem in asthma. Remember, obviously, as this disease is coming under chronic obstructive, so there is usually associated with the widespread throughout the lung, widespread bronchoconstriction, which is partly reversible. So we can reverse this bronchoconstriction partly only with the drugs or other methodology, whatever we are adopting to manage this asthma. How asthma develops? What is the pathogenesis of asthma? This chronic inflammatory problem, usually it starts with the invasion of some antigen. Now these antigens are usually protein in nature. It may be present in the house dust mite, cockroaches, animal dunders, molds and pollens, etc. So any type of antigen, when invades the human being, it reaches to peripheral lymphoid tissues. From here, these antigens, they provoke production of immunoglobulin E type, IgE type. These IgEs, they bind to mast cells and then sensitize them. So after binding to the mast cells and sensitizing them, there is release of variety of mediators, out of which the most important ones are leukotrienes, and especially leukotriene C4 and leukotriene D4. Along with these leukotrienes, there are some prostaglandins, especially D2. So obviously mast cells is full of histamine, so there may be release of histamine also, along with some enzyme, tryptase, etc. There is also release of ECFA, eosinophil chemotactic factor A. So these release of mediators are responsible for some of the production of inflammatory process and ultimately damages to these respiratory tissues. These immunoglobulin IgE are antibodies are genetically determined. So what we see, asthma or some other allergic disease related to IgE, these run in families. They are present clustered in families. If we see the normal histological structure of the air passage, what we see, there is epithelium, जिसके ऊपर से mucus निकल रहा है. Below the epithelium there is basement membrane, then some proper tissues, lamina propria. Underneath there are a layer of smooth muscles, below which there are glands present. These bronchial glands, इनकी ducts ऊपर खुलती हैं, the lumens, and obviously to support all the tissues, cartilages are present. Now this may be a normal thickness of all structures, including these basement membrane, lamina propria, smooth muscle glands, cartilage, etc., etc. Due to chronic problem, now gradually what we see, there is remodeling of the structures in asthma. So pathologically, asthma is characterized by remodeling. वो कैसे? There is excessive production of mucus in which eosinophil may be present. There is thickening of the basement membrane. Lamina propria starts getting thickened, and in which there is also present some other inflammatory process cells like macrophages. Smooth muscles also get thickened. Glands are multiplied. There may be hypersecretion of these glands. So what we see, so practically there is hyperplasia of all these structures of the basement membrane, of the smooth muscles, of the lamina propria, of the glands, etc. So there is hyperplasia of all the structure in case of bronchial asthma. You know, there are variety of irritants present in the environments. Out of the, obviously chronic smoking is the most commonest irritant, but any type of irritants leads to produce changes into two sides, on the epithelial cells and on the macrophages. On the epithelial cells, there is also then effects on the fibroblasts, and it leads to produce fibrosis, especially in the small airways. उनकी elasticity आहिस्ता से कम होती चली जाती है. The tissues are becoming fibrous. अब वो inflate, deflate कम होते हैं. Fibrous tissue तो elastic नहीं होती. Similarly, through epithelial cells, there are changes in the T lymphocyte, Th1, Tc1, or Th117. All these ultimately they themselves also produces change in the neutrophils, and macrophages also can produce change in neutrophils. But at the same time, macrophages indirectly through lymphocytes also produce change in the neutrophils. These macrophages also produce monocytes. Monocyte itself macrophages में फिर आगे बन जाते हैं. So neutrophils से ultimately there is production of variety of enzyme proteases. These proteases दो साइड पे फिर एल्वेओलार वॉल डिस्ट्रक्शन करते हैं, और वो फिर वॉल डिस्ट्रक्शन ज़्यादा हो जाती है, वो बड़ी थिन टाइप हो जाती है. एम्फाइजीमा ये अलग प्रॉब्लम है. वी विल स्टडी इन दिस मेडिसिन डिपार्टमेंट. एंड अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट देयर इज हाइपर सिक्रेशन ऑफ द म्यूकस आल्सो. सो ये तीन चीज़ें लाजमन साथ इरिटेंट्स के साथ होती हैं. स्मॉल एयरवेज स्पेशली फाइब्रोसिस, डिस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ द एल्वेओलार वॉल, एंड द हाइपरसेक्शन म्यूकस जो फिर कफ के साथ बाहर निकलती है. स्पूटन बड़ा एक्सेसिव क्वांटिटी में निकलता है. So up till now, whatever we have discussed, the hallmark of bronchial asthma is increased airway responsiveness. Kinko? To a variety of stimuli. Any type of stimuli you think, जैसे हमने स्मोकिंग वगैरह का, एनवायरमेंट, डस्ट वगैरह की बेशुमार चीज़ें हैं, उनसे क्या होता है? देयर इज एपिसोडिक ब्रोंकोकंस्ट्रिक्शन नंबर 1. अटैक्स आते हैं ब्रोंकोकंस्ट्रिक्शन के, एंड इन्फ्लेमेशन ऑफ द ब्रोंकियल वॉल्स, एंड देयर इज इंक्रीज्ड म्यूकोसिक्रेशन. 3 things: bronchoconstriction, inflammation of the bronchial walls, and increased mucous secretion. These are the 3 hallmarks of the bronchial asthma. Now, if we see a normal bronchial tone, how bronchoconstriction and how then may be converted into bronchodilation. Remember, a variety of second messengers are acting on the smooth muscles of the bronchial sides. For example, cyclic AMP, which itself is being converted from ATP through adrenal cyclase. This cyclic AMP is actually producing bronchodilation, producing relaxation in the smooth muscles of the bronchi. So there is bronchodilation. So whatever the problem, from here we can learn that if we want to produce bronchodilation, we should increase the activity through cyclic AMP. Number 1. Number 2. Second, we are seeing that this cyclic AMP is being converted to AMP through phosphodiesterase enzyme. So if we block this enzyme, phosphodiesterase, then cyclic AMP will remain there, will not be metabolized into AMP. So more and more cyclic AMP will be available there after blocking the prostaglandin, this phosphodiesterase enzyme, phosphodiesterase. So in this way, both these 2 mechanisms can produce bronchodilation. Now, beta 2 agonist, we have studied beta 2 agonist, salbutamol, terbutaline, etc. हम आगे भी जाके देखेंगे. Through adrenal cyclase, they are increasing cyclic AMP and ultimately producing bronchodilation. While theophylline is inhibiting this enzyme phosphodiesterase and not decreasing the cyclic AMP concentration. So more and more cyclic AMP remain there, available there. So theophylline can, in this way, can produce bronchodilation. Second, bronchoconstriction. We have seen in cholinergic stimulation that acetylcholine through muscarinic receptor, especially muscarinic 3, acetylcholine can induce bronchoconstriction, and muscarinic antagonists, हमने पढ़ा था, ipratropium, etc. So they can block these muscarinic 3 receptors and can avoid the production of bronchoconstriction. So they will try to normalize the bronchial tone. Second, leukotrienes, हमने पीछे देखा, a variety of mediators are released. So leukotrienes are also inducing bronchoconstriction. So if we want to avoid the bronchoconstriction, usually we use leukotriene inhibitors, leukotrienes antagonists. ठीक है, हम जाके पढ़ेंगे जाके. So these are the 2 ways by which we can avoid the production of bronchoconstriction, and we want to maintain the normal bronchial tone. Third process, adenosine itself can also induce bronchoconstriction, and theophylline from this methodology also, by blocking adenosine to bind with its receptor present in bronchial tree and will not allow to produce bronchoconstriction. And obviously theophylline, now we have seen, is showing its effect through mechanism. 1 above जो हमने देखा, by inhibiting enzyme phosphodiesterase, and second by blocking the adenosine receptors. So by above mechanism, it is producing bronchodilation. By the second, through adenosine receptor, it is inhibiting the production of bronchoconstriction, trying to normalize the bronchial tone. Now, depending upon this previous discussion, now we can make three groups about the drugs used in bronchial asthma. One, bronchodilators which dilate the bronchi. Second, anti-inflammatory agents. We have seen the chronic inflammation is the basic problem behind this bronchial asthma. So obviously, second group will be anti-inflammatory agents. And third ones is a leukotriene antagonists. First, bronchodilators. As we have seen there, the most important group available up to now is the beta 2 agonist. एडबिट्रॉल साल्बुटामॉल के नाम से मिलती है, वेंटोलिन के नाम से उसकी प्रोडक्ट मिलती है, टर्बिटालिन, मेटोप्रोटेरेनॉल, पिरबिटरॉल, साल्मेट्रॉल, फॉर्मेट्रॉल, आइसोप्रोटेरेनॉल, एपिनेफ्रीन, एफेड्रिन एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. सो ऑल दीज आर द बीटा 2 एगोनिस्ट. मैंने पीछे देख लिया हमने इसका. एंटीकोलिनर्जिक जैसे मैंने कहा इप्रोट्रोपियम, टायोट्रोपियम, they are blocking the muscarinic receptors and in this way are avoiding the production of this bronchoconstriction. Then the xanthine derivatives, theophylline, हमने पहले पढ़ लिया, apart from theophylline, theobromine, aminophylline, oxyphylline, and prophylline, roflumilast, और pentoxyphylline और caffeine etc. So xanthine derivatives, मैं कैसे पूछने पीछे हमने देख लिया, they will also produce bronchodilation. Second group, anti-inflammatory. The most important group used as anti-inflammatory is the corticosteroid group. So corticosteroids are given through usually three routes of administration. The most commonest one is the inhalation. So through inhalation, beclomethasone, triamcinolone, flunitrazolide, fluticasone, budesonide, nometasone और cyclosonide. ये बड़ा इम्पॉर्टेंट इनहेलेशन के थ्रू अवेलेबल हैं ड्रग्स जो हम थ्रू इनहेलेशन देते हैं. ओरली अमूमन वी गिव ओनली प्रेडनिसोलोन और प्रेडनिसोन. इंजेक्टेबल में इसकी इंजेक्टेबल फॉर्म भी है, मिथाइल प्रेडनिसोलोन एंड हाइड्रोकॉर्टिसोन. So these are the three routes of administration of corticosteroids of anti-inflammatory group. Second anti-inflammatory group is the anti-IgE monoclonal antibodies. तो ना IgE हो ना इन्फ्लेमेटरी प्रोसेस चले, ठीक है, उसके लिए मोनोक्लोनल एंटीबॉडीज़, उसमें अब तक एक ही ड्रग अवेलेबल इनका जो यूजफुल है अमलिज़ुमैब, ये इस्तेमाल करते हैं. सो दो ग्रुप कॉर्टिकोस्टेरॉइड्स और anti-IgE monoclonal antibodies are anti-inflammatory. Third one, prophylactic drugs, leukotriene antagonists. We have two types of leukotriene antagonists. One which block the receptor of leukotriene, second which block the enzyme by which these leukotrienes are being synthesized. So receptor blocker, montelukast, zafilukast, or lipoxygenase inhibitor, Chulitone. So leukotriene will be formed less and less bronchoconstriction will be produced. Because we have seen there is a release of mediators, so we have seen or we have developed few release inhibitors, mediator release inhibitor, cromolyn, didocromil. There are some specific drugs which can be used to treat any type of COPD, वो bronchial asthma हो जो कुछ हो, ये सारे. So out of that, obviously the first group is the beta 2 agonist, second is anti-inflammatory corticosteroid, third one is the anticholinergic ipratropium और triotropium. ये तीन ग्रुप जो यूजफुल कोई भी हो सकता है, लेकिन जो रिकमेंडेड COPD में आउट ऑफ इनमें से इस्तेमाल कीजिए. And if it is due to allergic problem, especially in allergic rhinitis, so drug used to treat of rhinitis with excessive mucus secretion synthesized in the nasal mucosa, और वो फिर नाक बंद और फ्लू और की शक्ल में या पानी बह रहा सब कुछ हो रहा है, तो चूँकि वहाँ पे there is vasodilation of the nasal mucosal vessels, so first of all we try to produce vasoconstriction there. For that we can use alpha agonists. They will produce localized vasoconstriction and less formation of this mucus will occur. Apart from that, we can use antihistamines, corticosteroids और क्रोमोलिन जो पीछे हमने देखा मीडिएटर रिलीज इनहिबिटर, एमोन्टेल्यूकास जो कि लिकोट्राइन रिसेप्टर ब्लॉकर है. Because we have seen काफ़ी सी basic presenting complaints in the bronchial asthma also. So drugs used to treat cough are two types drugs, dextromethorphan or codeine. They are useful to treat cough in such cases. Now let's start discussing the individual groups now. The first group I have told you, the most important one is the beta 2 drugs agonist. So what we call beta 2 selective. Here, as we have discussed in sympathomimetic groups, selective means relative selective. That doesn't mean they are not having any effects on beta 1. No. But dominant effect is beta 2 in the normal therapeutic dose. Okay? So whatever beta 1 activity is seen, that is very mild, and those will be seen only when the concentration or the drug levels of these drugs are increased in the blood and increased levels are reaching to the beta 1 size. Otherwise, main effects are seen of the beta 2. So that is why we are calling them as beta 2 selective drug. पीछे लिस्ट हम देखिए, इसमें important ones are albuterol, terbutaline, metoprolol or pirpetrol. So as I have told you, albuterol, bentoline, these are the selective adenosine receptor agonists. They are one of the most widely used sympathomimetic drugs or group for the treatment of the bronchoconstriction of asthma or even bronchoconstriction due to other COPD problem. This is the diagrammatic just to show you how to take the drugs through inhalation. Usually you have frequently seen this device as is present with the canister and the mouthpiece. So usually when we start breathing slowly, we coordinate with and immediately we push down the canister also. This will expel the drugs present inside in the form of these vapors or the droplets, and keep on breathing inside, and you inhale then these drugs and try to hold for some time so that drugs should be remain there for some time and be attached to the mucosal membrane of the bronchial tree, and then you can exhale it also. So usually practice is needed for to become accustomed of use of this inhaler. With this bronchodilation, what we have seen is beta 2 agonist के साथ maximally within 15 to 30 minutes achieved, and that may persist this bronchodilation with the beta 2 agonist up to 3 to 4 hours. So if the problem is not severe, usually we repeat accordingly, twice a day or thrice a day or even once a day also. But if some emergency occurs upon bronchoconstriction, we can repeat it also according to the need, according to the advice of the pulmonologist. We can give them through nebulizer also. So the nebulized therapy, that is reserved only for the patients who are unable to coordinate with the inhaler. जो हमने पीछे शक्ल देखी, बाज़ बेचारे कोऑर्डिनेट नहीं कर पाते, सो हम उसको फिर नेबुलाइजर के थ्रू देते हैं ये ड्रग्स. वो भी हॉस्पिटल में जाओगे तो आपको नजर आ जाएंगी. A little vasodilating effect of beta 2 agonists also on the vessels. So when there is vasodilation, there will be increased perfusion of blood supply to those parts to which these vessels are applying. So especially those lungs part who are poorly ventilated, उनमें फिर प्रॉपर ब्लड सप्लाई आती है और प्रॉपर फिर उनकी एक्टिविटी शुरू हो जाती है. As I told you, they are safe and effective bronchodilator even if we take or as an as needed basis for the relief of the symptom. वो इसलिए कि if we continually use, obviously I have told you previously, the level of these beta 2 agonists will start rising in the blood, and more will go to the beta 1 sites and other sites also. So some adverse effects will also start appearing with the chronic use. Albuterol, salbutamol, mentholatum, clamsine, and terbutaline. These are the two common drugs out of these beta 2 agonists which are used. अगर ओरल इस्तेमाल करनी है, use it with the low oral dose. Low dose are started just to avoid the adverse effects. Especially जैसे मैंने कहा, किसी भी जगह पर on the skeletal muscle, on the tremors develop होती है, nervousness और even palpitation वगैरह develop हो सकती है. And usually these are seen usually during first 2 weeks of the therapy. फिर gradually आहिस्ता आहिस्ता फिर कम हो जाती हैं. Even then we start with the low dose. Terbutaline, however, we can give through injection also. If terbutaline is given, especially in severe asthma, subcutaneous repeatedly, तो इससे भी cumulative effect मिलते हैं. And cumulative means more and more drugs are being accumulated inside the body. तो उससे फिर adverse effects मिलते हैं terbutaline के. Salmeterol, ये नाम मिलता है albuterol से, लेकिन वो शॉर्ट एक्टिंग है. सल्मेट्रॉल लॉन्ग एक्ट, ये बेसिकली पार्शियल एगोनिस्ट है. वो तो फुल एगोनिस्ट है, ये पार्शियल एगोनिस्ट है. और अब पार्शियल एगोनिस्ट की डेफिनेशन में रखिएगा, ठीक है, कि ये काम करेंगे, लेकिन इनकी सब मैक्सिमल एफिकेसी होगी. नंबर 2, दे कैन बिहेव लाइक एन एंटागोनिस्ट फॉर द नेचुरल एंडोजन न्यूरोट्रांसमीटर एंड फॉर द फुल एगोनिस्ट आल्सो. हियर नेचुरल इज द एपिनेफ्रिन एक्सेट्रा, तो उसका भी इफेक्ट ये कम कर सकती हैं. खैर नहीं आओ. फॉर्मोटेरॉल ये फुल एगोनिस्ट है. बोथ आर लॉन्ग एक्टिंग, देयर इफेक्ट्स आर remains more than 12 hours. So maximum they can be repeated after 12 hours, twice a day. So otherwise they are potent beta 2 selective. Potent means very low dose is enough to produce the effects of these drugs. So they are potent beta 2 selective agonists. These beta 2 agonists, they have no anti-inflammatory action. So to achieve anti-inflammatory, usually we combine with these beta 2 agonists with corticosteroids in the inhaler. So to improve the asthma control, we usually use a combination of beta 2 agonists with the corticosteroids given through inhaler. Toxicities, obviously the toxic levels are higher level. Inhalational route when we use, so they can also increase the level of the drugs in the blood. So at times, if some patient is already threatening with the problem, they can even suffer from lethal type of cardiac arrhythmias. And even there may be acute hypoxemia if we don't give oxygen along with this beta 2 agonists, etc. in emergency. In emergency, routine नहीं oxygen देनी, only in emergency. लेकिन ये potential capability to produce lethal types of cardiac arrhythmias must be kept in mind while we are using this inhalational drug repeatedly. If we use chronically, tolerance will develop. If we use repeatedly with a short interval, tachyphylaxis will develop. That is, in both the cases, decrease responsiveness of beta 2. तो ग्रेजुअली आहिस्ता आहिस्ता फिर वो जो इफेक्ट मिलता है ब्रोंकोडायलिसिस वो कम होता चला जाता है. तो इसलिए ख्याल से इस्तेमाल कीजिए. एक रिपीटली मत इस्तेमाल कीजिए बार बार विद इन शॉर्ट इंटरवल, ताकि टैक्सीफिलैक्सिस से बचा जाए. एंड नंबर 2, क्रॉनिक इस्तेमाल मत कीजिए, नीड बेस कीजिए. क्रॉनिक इस्तेमाल करेंगे टॉलरेंस डेवलप हो जाएगी, नीड बेस करेंगे टॉलरेंस से भी बच जाएंगे. इसलिए यूजुअली वी आर एडवाइजिंग द पेशेंट टू टेक एज पर नीड. जब महसूस होता है 2 पफ ले लीजिए, अदरवाइज डोंट टेक इट. इंडाकेट्रॉल ये अल्ट्रा लॉन्ग एक्टिंग ड्रग है, बीटा 2 एगोनिस्ट. यूजुअली इतनी लॉन्ग एक्टिंग, इवन इट इज टेकन वंस अ डे. आई स्पेशली यूज ओनली फॉर द ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ COPD ओनली, क्योंकि उसमें लॉन्ग एक्टिंग में चाहिए होती हैं. सो इंडाकेट्रॉल जो है ये ओनली यूज फॉर ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ COPD. एफेड्रिन को देखिए, हमने पहले पढ़ा था सिम्पथोमाइमेटिक में, ये मिक्स्ड एक्टिंग होती है, डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली। एनी तो मोर देन 2000 years, especially in China, ephedrine is being used. Especially in initial times, it was a drug of abuse, but later on, its use starts coming in bronchial asthma also. So compared with epinephrine, it acts both directly and indirectly, and its duration obviously longer than the epinephrine. So epinephrine cannot be given orally, but it can be given orally. Epinephrine cannot cross the blood-brain barrier, cannot produce central effects, but ephedrine can cross the blood barrier and can produce central effects. Or epinephrine, we know it's a highly potent. Even diluted form may be just parts of fraction of milliliter is given subcutaneously, वो भी preferably subcutaneously. जबकि ephedrine is having lower potency, so it can be used orally also. It can also produce tachyphylaxis, क्योंकि directly acting है तो इसके बड़ी जल्दी फिर store deplete हो जाते हैं. If we give repeatedly within short interval, we can observe tachyphylaxis. तो इसलिए इन चीज़ों बचने के लिए वैसे भी अब better available alternative आ गए हैं. Ephedrine is less frequently used in bronchial asthma. Isoproterenol, it is also very potent bronchodilator. Very, very low dose can produce bronchodilation. अब देखिए इसकी माइक्रोग्राम में डोज हम दे रहे हैं. 80 to 120 माइक्रोग्राम ऑफ एस्पिरेटॉल पोटेंट है ना, ऊपर मिल जाए तो बहुत लो डोज भी काफ़ी है. और थ्रू पफ हम इनहेलर देते हैं. दे कैन काज मैक्सिमल ब्रोंकोडाइलेशन विद इन 5 minutes. वो तो 15 मिनट ले लेती है ना साल्बुटामोल एल्बेट्रॉल वगैरह, तो ये तो विद इन 5 minutes एस्पिरेटॉल कैन प्रोड्यूस द इफेक्ट्स. और इसकी ड्यूरेशन भी फ्रॉम 60 to 90 minutes है. उसकी 3 से 4 घंटे थी, 1 से 1.5 घंटे तक है. इसका प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि एस्पिरेटॉल को हमने उसके मुकाबले में प्रेफर क्यों नहीं करते? दैट इज़ द ओनली रीज़न कि इट इंक्रीजेज द मोर्टेलिटी रेट ड्यू टू पोटेंशियल कैपेबिलिटी ऑफ प्रोडक्शन ऑफ कार्डियक अरिथमियाज, स्पेशली फ्रॉम हाई डोजेज ऑफ इनहेल्ड एस्पिरेटॉल. ठीक है, तो अंदर अगर हाई लेवल तो लीथल टाइप का, तो इसलिए हम इसको अवॉइड करते हैं एस्पिरेटॉल को. तो वी रेयरली यूज दिस एस्पिरेटॉल इन केस ऑफ ब्रोंकियल एस्थमा. एपिनेफ्रिन पे नजर डाल लीजिए, ये तमाम रिसेप्टर प्रोटेक्ट करती है, अल्फा 1, अल्फा 2, बीटा 1, बीटा 2, बीटा 3, लेकिन हमें यहाँ पे उसका मेन मसला बीटा 2 पर है. ठीक है, इट इज़ इफेक्टिव, rapidly acting bronchodilator when injected subcutaneously. So even 0.2 to 0.4 ml of diluted 1000 times diluted epinephrine is given. और अब हमने इसको देखा है कि थ्रू इनहेलेशन भी देखा माइक्रो एरोजल फॉर्म फॉर प्रेशराइज कैनिस्टर 320 माइक्रोग्राम पर पफ उसमें मौजूद होती है, तो उसको भी थ्रू भी लेके देखा है. तो इसका भी मैक्सिमल ब्रोंकोडाइलेशन विद इन 15 minutes और that may last for 1 to 1.5 hours. अच्छा, अब चूँकि जाहिर है कि हमारी कॉम्पिटिशन बीटा 2 की है कि बीटा 2 पे एक्ट करे, बट वी नो कि इट कैन एक्ट ऑन ऑल द रिसेप्टर अल्फा 1, अल्फा 2, बीटा 1 एक्सेट्रा. सो बाय बाइंडिंग एंड प्रोड्यूसिंग एगोनिस्टिक इफेक्ट अल्फा एंड बीटा रिसेप्टर्स, बीटा 1 रिसेप्टर, दे कैन प्रोड्यूस tachycardia, arrhythmias. Even by increasing the cardiac activity, they can produce workload on the heart. So increased oxygen demand will be there. They can precipitate the or worse the angina pectoris, especially in already compromised patients, जिनमें already छोटे मोटे प्रॉब्लम इन चीज़ों का है उनमें. So they are very much troublesome adverse effects of epinephrine in such cases. तो लाइक अदर ड्रग्स इसको भी बीटा 2 एगनिस्ट ने रिप्लेस कर दिया हुआ है. तो अलबत्ता इन सीवियर अटैक, एक्यूट अटैक, स्पेशली अगर एफिलेक्सिस हो जाए, कोई एलर्जिक रिएक्शन को ऐसी, उसमें हमें पता है कि ड्रग ऑफ चॉइस, उसमें ये ब्रोंकोस्पैज्म खत्म करेगी इमीडिएटली. सबको टेलर भी यूज़ करते हैं उसको.